I'm 36 years old and I'm about $3 million in medical debt. After a heart attack, open heart surgery, and life support, I was 8 weeks in the hospital. I'm a retired veteran or medically disabled veteran. And you would think they would cover it. I showed a video like this when I first got to the hospital back in November, and I showed this bill right here, totaling $500,000. And everyone said, it's not $500,000. You only owe $22,000. Your insurance paid the rest. Yes, you're correct. But what about these other hundreds of bills?
Jessica Farwell is describing frantic moments from October 2022. A rice cooker fell off her kitchen counter, severely burning her 6-month-old son, Brody. A required ambulance ride to get to the hospital entrance, which was only 0.3 miles away.
You literally can walk across the street to the hospital quicker than that ambulance could have brought us there. And they charged me $10,200.
Jessica faced another battle, bills amounting to more than $100,000.
The US financial system can be extremely unfair towards its people. For example, let's say you are someone who took years in order to build a perfect credit score. One day you decide to wake up, you get into a car to go from a point A to a point B, then an accident happens to you. You wake up at the hospital and they give you a $600K bill. You look at the bill and you know there is no way for you to be able to pay that bill. So you have to declare bankruptcy, and it just wipes all the efforts you put in to building your credit score this last 10, 20 years. I do think that hospitals, they charge way more than they really spend on you. For example, when it comes to blood transfusion, they charge you $300 when people give their blood for free. So I can understand the packaging and the transfusion, but when $300 is too much. I think that the government should hire people who audit the hospitals on a regular basis, like the hygiene services when they go into restaurants to see if everything is clean. We should have the same regulation when it comes to hospitals. Those people who audit are going to look at the prices of the materials and the services and see how much profit the hospitals are making and report it. Then we'll know how much they really spend and how much they're charging. Because how come this woman that we are going to watch had to spend $100,000 in order to save her baby?
Just seeing your baby in so much pain was just like the worst feeling as a mom.
Jessica Farwell is describing frantic moments from October 2022. A rice cooker fell off her kitchen counter, severely burning her 6-month-old son, Brody.
The water just made his skin instantly bubbled up. I was just like, is his face going to start bubbling? Is the skin going to start peeling off?
Panicked, Jessica rushed Brody to the Sutter Antioch emergency room.
But they gave him fentanyl through his nose for the pain because he was just screaming. And they said that they didn't have a burn unit, so they were calling an ambulance. But, it was the end of COVID, so there was no ambulances available, and there wasn't going to be an ambulance for 7 hours.
She says doctors deemed it medically necessary to transfer Brody to Shriners Children's Hospital in Sacramento. Instead of waiting 7 hours for an ambulance, Jessica asked if she could drive.
I said, no, I'm sorry, you can't. I can't let you leave with him. I already called the helicopter. They're on their way. He basically told me there was nothing I could do. I had to go on the helicopter.
A 15-minute helicopter ride that cost nearly $90,000. She says doctors assured her she would not get the bill because the hospital was requesting it and she had insurance. Upon arriving on the helipad, she fell into another trap, a required ambulance ride to get to the hospital entrance, which was only 0.3 miles away.
You literally can walk across the street to the hospital quicker than that ambulance could have brought us there. And they charged me $10,200.
Jessica faced another battle, bills amounting to more than $100,000 for the 15-minute helicopter ride and the 0.3-mile ambulance ride. Despite what she says doctors promised her, Jessica's insurance only covered less than half of the helicopter bill, leaving her on the hook for more than $57,000. And only a fraction of the ambulance bill was covered, leaving her responsible for more than $7,300.
And no surprise that the birth rate is declining. Okay, the government will give you $5,000 if you have a baby, but how much is $5,000 compared to the 100,000 you have to pay? And this is an accident, you know. But in order to raise a kid from 0 to 18, you need to spend at least around 100,000. So let's get into the comments. Someone said, let's not forget we send 4 billion to a certain country and they have free healthcare and education. Imagine that country has free healthcare and education while the country that is sending that money doesn't even have it. And someone else said, they forced these bills on her by telling her she didn't have a choice, unfortunately. Someone else said, quote unquote, pro-life until the baby is born. Yep, they will always tell you to have a baby, and once you have a baby, you'll be on your own. So someone else asked, I'm really curious, what happens if she never pays? And you have Ash who said, people are not realizing how genuinely dystopian America is. It is terrifying. So I made a video exactly about this subject. You can watch it. It's called The US Hit a Breaking Point. It covers all these subjects. You have this girl who decided to completely refuse to pay her medical bills.
You know, one thing that really has my brain discombobulated is the fact that you Americans have to...
You have no idea how much this country sucks. American citizens will call an Uber before they'll call an ambulance because the average cost for an ambulance is anywhere between $1,500 to $2,700. Average 3-day stay in a hospital is $30,000. If it's a psychiatric hold, make it $90,000. If you were to walk into an ER, get Tylenol and leave, they'd slap you with a $700 bill. If you break your leg, it's $7,500. An MRI costs $2,400. If you had a miscarriage and somebody called an ambulance, you'd be paying around $2,000 for the ambulance ride, $7,500 for treatment, $30,000 to stay, and then if you lost blood and needed a transfusion, it's $3,600 for the treatment and $300 per unit of blood. If you were a cancer patient without any insurance and you needed 4 treatments a year, that'd be $48,000. Therapy appointment, $300. Psychiatric, $250. Medication, $100+. We live in a capitalistic country. They are not here to help us. They're here to exploit us.
So in the comments, someone said, so you mean to tell me people donate blood to get sold for complete profit? Yeah, I can understand the fact that you have to buy the bag to hold the blood and the transfusion, the service and all those things, but it shouldn't cost $300. It's not like that for every American. I don't have to pay that much because I have health insurance. So it depends. Your health insurance might cover half of it, might cover 80% of it. It extremely depends. But most people, usually they struggle with their health insurance. For example, like this veteran who owes $3 million in medical debts. And I just don't understand the fact that he's a veteran. He went to the army. He fought for the country. This is how he's treated.
I'm 36 years old and I'm about $3 million in medical debt. After a heart attack, open heart surgery, and life support, I was 8 weeks in the hospital. I'm a retired veteran or medically disabled veteran. And you would think they would cover it. I showed a video like this when I first got to the hospital back in November, and I showed this bill right here, totaling $500,000. And everyone said, it's not $500,000. You only owe $22,000. Your insurance paid the rest. Yes, you're correct. But what about these other hundreds of bills that I haven't even opened some of? Let me give you an example. This one says amount $1,400. Veteran responsibility. The VA only covered $400. I owe $12. Let's get another one. $1,200. $22,000. Veteran responsibility, $500. VA only approved $134. I owe $424. Veteran responsibility, $2,080. The VA only approved $432. I owe $1,647. I could keep going with this. I have hundreds of bills that I haven't opened. I don't know when I'm going to get around to it. It gives me anxiety. Yes, I'm still on hundreds of medications that I need to survive. Good news is I just got pulled off of dialysis. I no longer need dialysis. Well, I surgically have this placed into my chest, this device, as you can see here, and it needs to be removed surgically, anesthesia. Guess what? The hospital that put it in called me yesterday and told me the VA denied it. The VA did not give them the green light to remove it. So I'm stuck with this catheter in my jugular vein through my chest, and the VA won't approve of removal. You wonder why people are pissed off at the American health system. I have millions of dollars in debt after just surviving surgery, open heart, life support, medications for years to come. And they can't approve a catheter removal? Is this America? Get your together.
I just don't understand where the taxes are going. Because I know American people, they pay billions and billions and billions when it comes to taxes, when they can't even have free healthcare, even though most countries has it. So someone said in the comments, come to Sweden. Recommending because I literally got told in Latvia to remove titanium pins from leg, 5,500 euros. But in Sweden, I paid 110 euros just for a hospital bed and anesthetic. And someone else said, bro, come to Poland, get hired at McDonald's, and the same day you qualify for 100% free medical care covered by employee health insurance, and I mean to. Someone else said, just get a plane ticket to Norway, my dude. And you have Chantel who said, set up a payment plan with them and tell them you can only afford $10 a month, keeps you out of collections. Yeah, if they accept it, you can.
It's crazy to me that the rest of the world doesn't have medical debt, but Americans just accept it like it's normal. Like the number one cause of bankruptcy in the United States of America is medical debt. Something went wrong and you had to go to the hospital and you were not able to pay for it. Most countries don't have this problem, like Germany, France, England, China, you name the country. They don't have medical debt. They actually take care of their citizens. Their citizens just have to go to the doctor when they're sick and then they go home. In America, though, you got to go to the doctor when you're sick, but you can't afford a primary care doctor, so you go straight to the emergency room, and then you get hit with like a $5,000 bill. That's the American healthcare system. And even if you have insurance, the insurance doesn't cover like the first 10 grand of whatever the problem is, so you're still going to get hit with that $5,000 bill. But the rest of the world has figured out how to not do this, how to not saddle their citizenry with massive amounts of medical debt because they have a single payer system and their taxes pay for their health care. But not in America. In America, we're like, yeah, having the number one cause of bankruptcy be medical debt makes total sense.
So someone said in the comments, the biggest difference between the Canadian system and the American system is the insurance companies. Eliminate the huge profit and bonuses and the government becomes the insurance company and you have universal health care. So what Vince meant by that was when you take out the middleman, it reduces way more the bills. Because keep in mind that insurances are private enterprises, so their goal is to make profit, and that's why the bills can go extremely high. Now let's watch someone who refuses to pay and what are the consequences.
I will never pay a medical bill in my life. I would rather die. I'm not paying that. I went in for a sprained ankle. All they did is look at it and say, sprained, and tried to hit me with a Bansky. A Bansky? No, boy, y'all ain't never seeing that band. They tried to lower it down too and work with me. Y'all ain't never seeing that money, boy. Ever.
So here's the example I was giving earlier. So someone said, a drunk driver hit almost unalived me. Owed the hospital $600K for a month in the hospital, they will never get a dime. So in the comments, someone else said, they just called me yesterday talking about a payment plan. I said, for how much? She said $4K. I laughed and said, the most I can pay is $2 a month. She was trying to refer me to another charity that helps pay. I told them to contact my insurance. That's what I have it for. And she said they only cover a certain amount. And I said, well, I pay all year long. They can pay the full price for once a year. Visit crazy, bro. But all these people saying they are not paying, they are not seeing the consequences yet. So let's see the potential consequences if you decide to refuse to pay your medical bills.
This is what happens if you don't pay your medical bills in America. You basically have 30 days to pay your medical bills, and they will call you and basically harass you every single day to pay your bill. After it's been 60 to 90 days, they will sell your medical bill to a collections agency where your medical bill will start gaining interest. And from there, they will also start harassing and calling you and basically telling you to pay your bill. Depending on how impatient your collections agency is, they can take you to court and sue you, and they can go after your wages, your paychecks, your car, your home, until that medical bill is paid off. It also really depends on the amount too. Like, I don't think they're gonna take someone to court for a $100 bill. I know that your medical bills can't affect your credit score, but once they do sell it to a collections agency, that's when it can. However, a lot of people actually don't know this, but you can actually negotiate your bill and by a lot, like half the cost, because at the end of the day, all they want is your money. You can also do this with your collections agency too. You can also do monthly payments too, and as long as you're making monthly payments on your bill, they can't come after you. So you can literally pay $1 a month and they can't come after you. Usually if you don't have insurance, there's usually charities that will help cover your costs. Even the hospital themselves will give you a discount if you don't have insurance. I know there's a lot of people that will say that their medical bill disappeared without paying for it. That's because either the collection agency gave up the cost of it, like you probably just owed like $100 and they're like, it's whatever. Or because they're gonna come after you years later once your bill has gained a lot of interest. So yeah, that's basically what happens if you don't pay your medical bills in America, unfortunately.
So someone in the comments said 30 days to pay 40K is diabolical. Yeah, I wonder if they think their clients are millionaires. Someone else said, well, I got a court hearing for mine because the hospital sued me. No lie. You see, the consequences are coming. Someone else said, medical bills are actually the one thing you want to get in trouble for not paying. I don't know what y'all heard. What she said, I don't think it is true because we've seen people getting sued for medical bills.
Okay, I just need a minute to talk about how psychotic, evil humans who work for debt collectors. They will degrade you, scare you, harass you, anything they can do to get you to pay off whatever it is. They'll argue with you, they'll manipulate you, they'll gaslight. I went to Mexico in 2017, got really sick, must have been like sun poisoning or something because I was fine when I got back. It wasn't because of the water. When I landed in Houston, my great uncle picked me up and took me to the emergency room. They did nothing for me. I was in there for 10 minutes. They didn't do any blood work, they didn't do any tests. They literally just prescribed me some ibuprofen and sent me home. I got a $3,000 bill in the mail. Did I pay it? No. Did I hear from anyone about this for the past 5 years? No. So a few months ago, I started getting calls about this debt. I told them that I don't validate the debt and that I needed an itemized copy of the receipts for what I was being charged for because I was absolutely not going to pay it. And that it was a HIPAA violation for them to try to collect this debt. This woman argued with me. She said it's not a HIPAA violation because I don't have an itemized receipt of what you were seen for. I said, well, then the debt is invalid because you don't have an itemized receipt. None of this is on my credit report. So finally, I get another call, and this is a man. Immediately hits me with all these scare tactics. Tells me that all 3 credit reporting bureaus are validating this debt and that it's gonna ruin my credit forever and that I just need to do the right thing. I was screaming at this man, telling him how much of a horrible person he was for having this job and just going off on him, telling him I don't validate the debt over and over again, that it's a HIPAA violation. He was just not having it. Just calm tone. So I ended the conversation with telling him that I wasn't going to pay it and that he could mark it as such and to stop bothering me. Guess what's not on my credit report?
Keep in mind that the video we just watched, when it was recorded at the time, your credit report wasn't affected by the medical bills. But now with the new president, it's the complete opposite. So your medical bills negatively affect your credit report if you decide not to pay them. It will lower your credit score. So in the comments, someone said, I've literally never paid an ER bill. I ignored all the calls and mails. Eventually, it fell off after 7 years and my credit score went up to 700. So here is a video when that law was applied so the medical bills wouldn't affect your credit report.
The Biden administration has officially banned medical debt from appearing on credit reports. Here is what we know. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB, has concluded that medical debt is no longer an adequate measure of someone's ability to pay off debt. As a result, lenders will be barred from using medical information to determine lending decisions. The new rule will take effect starting in March. It will result in $49 billion in medical bills being stripped from the credit reports of more than 15 million people in the US. According to a 2024 report issued by KFF, a nonprofit that studies and analyzes medical debt, nearly 1 in 12 adults has medical debt. The CFPB's director Rohit Chopra said in a statement, people who get sick shouldn't have their financial future upended. He also stated, the CFPB's final rule will close a special carve-out that has allowed debt collectors to abuse the credit reporting system to coerce people into paying medical bills they may not even owe. The agency believes the new measures will improve home ownership. They estimate that this new ruling will raise credit scores by an average of 20 points and predict it will lead to 22,000 more mortgages yearly. In addition to hindering the acquisition of mortgages, medical debt on credit reports has also affected access to car loans and small business loans. In a statement, Vice President Kamala Harris said, "No one should be denied economic opportunity because they got sick or experienced a medical emergency." She also noted that states and local governments have used 2021 pandemic-era aid packages to eradicate more than $1 billion of medical debt. Back in 2023, three major U.S. credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, announced plans to exclude medical debts under $500 from credit reports. This move by the Biden administration highlights the growing severity of medical debt on the lives of U.S. consumers.
But with the arrival of the new president, it completely reversed.
Thanks to a federal judge in Texas, medical debt will be going back on credit reports. I am sorry, people, this is another bad news video. This is obviously really frustrating because this is years of advocacy work from a lot of great organizations, including $4. So what does this mean for you? Medical debt, if it goes unpaid, can impact your credit, which can impact your ability to get a loan, buy a house, get a car, all of the things. It does not make sense to penalize people for getting sick, for going to the hospital. Medical debt does not belong on credit reports. It is not an indicator if you are financially responsible. This will impact millions and millions of people negatively. It does not make sense. It is very frustrating, especially since a lot of this debt is hospital bills that would be eligible for financial assistance.
So in the comments, someone said, "I'm still not paying them, never have, never will. I have 27K in debt for my hysterectomy that my insurance denied coverage for due to what they deemed a pre-existing condition. The hospital wants my monthly payment to be $900. I mean, with a monthly payment of $900, you can have a beautiful, nice car." Anyway, so this is the end of the video. Let me know if you like it. Don't forget to comment and also subscribe. I have one question for you. Have you ever experienced these medical bills? Do you have a good insurance? If that is the case, feel free to recommend it in the comments. Take care. See you soon. Ciao.